Something very interesting happened today. I was talking to a female friend of mine while watching a podcast, and I started telling her about how people nowadays are so narrow-minded about what they want to do in life. They are too stuck in a particular way that they cannot see beyond some horizons that is set by the society and the environment. While talking about that, I asked for her opinion. Of course, we are in a conversation, so it's not like I'm giving her a pravachan. And she said, I do have many things to share with you, but I don't think I can explain it to you properly. That stuck something in my head, and I was like, okay, so she can't articulate her thoughts properly. But then, being a good conversationalist, I told her that that's okay if she starts talking in abstract words. I'll just articulate them according to her thoughts and have a good communication with her. She was like, okay, I'll take and tell you in abstract ideas about what I think. And she gave me very good points, and we had a great conversation. So I think that's the problem with most of the things today, most of the people nowadays, is their lack of communication skills. Me personally, I wasn't such a good conversationalist. I was a shy kid. I still remember I was my school days. I was in kindergarten. Our school was like 10 kilometers from our house, and the auto driver who used to take me to my school, he also used to take many of the teachers. And there was an unsaid rule that the teachers would be sitting in the big seats and the little kids would be sitting in the small seats. But that's kind of the etiquette you have to go with. I used to be a top scorer in those days, and with me there was my best friend. He was also a good scorer, but not as much as me. And I remember one of the teachers, she started bringing up a topic about me and my friend about how we are such good students and top scorers. But she made him to be the smarter one. Why? Because he was more outspoken than me. I always felt like if I speak, people will reject me. There was a fear of social rejection within me, which made me not want to speak. And that was reinforced by how I got treated by the society, by how I got educated by parents about what the values were put into me to always be passive. But that went on for quite a lot of time till I started going astray a little bit. And some years ago, I started feeling the inkling I have towards people as my own nature. And then I started to learn about conversational skills and how to build connections, how to build a network. And I'm not saying I've completely perfected it, but I still look back at that kid who was in that auto rickshaw sitting in front of the teacher thinking to himself, why am I not being called the smart one? I feel like I have come far above that. And that's a good achievement which I feel within myself. But still, the human heart is greedy. It wants more and more. So, articulation of thoughts, communication is a very important factor. In fact, it is one of the most important factor when you are having a conversation is to put your words in a way so that your thoughts, which are congruent to your beliefs, get communicated to the person in front of you. And if you have learned anything about psychology and how people work, basically, the social psychology, you understand how important Congress can be when you're having a conversation. It differentiates you from the bullshit to the real one. And I don't think being articulate is hard, but most of the people confuse articulation with focus. And that's what I talk about being of being narrow-minded. They will think their mind is going here and there, but they want to focus their mind on one particular thing, just like parents do. In fact, it is very much reinforced by our parents about how we shape our mind. From little kids, we are forced to study one thing and one thing only. Anything other than studies are said to be a distraction. Why is that? When our parents were 6 years old, they were basically playing with freaking spices and clothes all around them and utensils and running around their society doing whatever they want. But we are being put through a system which is defined by the society, by the educational system, by everyone other than ourselves, what we should do. And when we are just 16, we are told to choose what we want to do in life. I don't know. I don't know. I have no clue what I want to do in life. No 16-year-old has a thought process of what he's going to do in life. And that's why your brain goes into various different domains because it wants to explore things, it wants to broaden its horizon, it wants to expand. But if you concentrate it on a particular thing and just start going into it over and over again, you just forget your horizons. You forget what exists beyond this realm. You basically become a token of this capitalistic world. I keep forgetting a term by Sadhguru. I heard it a few months ago. Mm, do I have Alzheimer's? I don't know. Oh, yes, I do remember. Sadhguru, I heard his podcast with Russell Brand, and Sadhguru was talking about how the concept of capitalism and communism are derived from our philosophies. He coined it as a path to enlightenment gone astray. That was a very interesting concept because he defined capitalism as something as wanting more and more. And its basic human nature of greed, it's inbuilt in us. No matter how much we try to deny it, we always want to get more and more. And in this capitalistic world where we can't see anything but money, we only start freewheeling towards earning more and more. We see it as conquest. In the earlier days, we used to fight wars, conquest lands, conquest kingdoms, conquest places, conquest adventures. But now, there is nothing to conquest. We are not exploring anything. The mindset of money has made us a single-headed bull who sees the red cloth of money and just chases it to the ends of the earth, wanting more and more. But it's never satisfied because it's never meant to be satisfied. And we are blindly following someone's dream, someone's ideologies, a system that someone has set for us without thinking of our own. And in the start, it feels great. It feels great to just achieve something. But then, with time and time again, you see some things don't work out, and life hits you really hard, and you're not prepared for it. And you feel like it's such a shit life. And when you start understanding that, you see that you have already taken responsibility for someone's life. You have wife, you have children to take care of. You cannot start over and just take control of your life again. You have already lost it. The time has gone, and it's too late to do anything. It's really interesting because even now I have so much stuff going inside my head that it's so crazy, but I'm trying to put those things one after another for you so that everything relates to a single topic of articulation and how it is important across every domain of our life. We have made it a taboo for our mind to wander around. We think our mind is like a machine that will program some code into it and it will just start spitting out some things that we feed into it. We give an input and we get an output. But that's not how it actually works. You have to be capable of understanding what your mind is telling you. You have to Feed the child inside your mind, the thought process that are coming into your head. It's not the enemy of your mind, but it's something your mind needs. You cannot satisfy an hungry stomach with water. Yeah, you may suppress it by drinking water, but for how long? It will come up eventually. And if you keep suppressing it over and over again, in the end, it will just boil up and you will see repercussions like you've never seen. That's why so many people today nowadays have trauma. I'm not saying that's the only reason they go to a psychiatrist, but it's one of the reasons they have emotional outbursts. So many kids who bring guns to schools and start shooting, the crime rates are through the roof because there is no way they can vent their emotions, their mind out onto this world. They're so limited by the beliefs of the world, the society, the environment, and other things that are forced upon them, which is not even theirs. Humans are the middlemen between apes and gods. That is something my mentor used to tell me. Even gods are jealous of humans because humans have free will. They do not need to follow a certain path. They are made not to follow a certain path. They are not perfect. That's why you can never achieve perfection as a human because you're not a god and because you're not meant to do so. You're supposed to find your own path and live your way through it. Now, a lot of people do confuse these ideologies for being selfish. They will say, yeah, I work for myself, I do it for myself. But it's a very complicated thing to do it for yourself. Because if you are not who you want to be, how can you be so sure that you want to do it for yourself? I'm forgetting the philosopher's name, but basically the premise of that was he divided the human consciousness into three parts: the ego, the superego, and the id. Us humans live between the id and the superego. The superego is what many people call God. It is something that is deep rooted inside you, which gives you the intuition and which makes you feel various emotions which are so complicated that till now even psychologists don't understand. The feeling of vengeance, the feeling of guilt, the feeling of resentment, the emotions, the anger. When you've set a certain goal for yourself for a certain day and you haven't achieved it, you might go to sleep in your bed happily or drink your way through it or smoke a cigarette through it. But deep down, you know that you didn't do it. And that's your superego. What I've come to a conclusion is if you build this superego and you listen to it, you start becoming more confident. You start actually believing things. Your thoughts become more aligned. Your actions become aligned. You become more congruent. You become more trustworthy. And as a human who is living a life in this world full of uncertainties, full of unbroken principalities, full of randomness, that is what is important to be able to stand like a mountain who is unwavered by the randomness of this world. I still remember there was a time, I'm going to tell you this story. It was 2014. My brother was in college, and one evening, I still remember the time, it was around 6:40. My mother had just done her evening prayer. My father was not at home, and my brother called my mom, and he was groaning in pain, and it then just the call got cut off. I was just sitting on the bed beside my mother when she got that call. She had such a horrified look in her eyes. I still remember that. I still remember the air becoming so heavy and so choking. I was a kid at that time, 10 years. My mom called all of my relatives. This happened, this happened. And everyone rushed to our house. Everyone started rushing here and there. My brother was in a faraway place. I mean, it wasn't anything serious. He got into an accident. But still, that makes you wonder what life is, how unpredictable it can be. And it's hard. It's hard to accept that as a human you are so fragile. You can only control your emotions. Not even that. You have so little to control over so many things. You have so little control. It's so hard to accept. That's why we see anger in people. That's why we see emotional outbursts. It makes us wonder how weak us as humans we are. And people, many people do have a hard time accepting that. They are busy living the rat race that the capitalistic world has put over them. They're nothing. They're nothing. Just a token out of this big thing called capitalism. Not even a shred of importance in this world. And this is not to say that everything is bad and everything is um, that you shouldn't go for things, you shouldn't try to achieve things. It's to make you just understand what life should be. There's not a video which tells you about what to do, what not to do. I'm just out here putting my perspective on things so that you can question your own reality and start getting better. I want you guys to think and move. I'm putting it out there in hopes of finding people who are like me. Because it's hard to find people who think critically, who are just not participating in this rat race and going after things that other people have put onto them. It's hard to find people. And it's even harder to find people who follow these ideologies. Life doesn't have to be so mundane and so boring, does it? Well, that was heavy. But yeah, I wanted to put the mess of the things in my head into words and speak to the world. And this is my medium of doing that. It's like 12:51 here. My semester exams are going on. I'm in my hostel. I have some modules going on. Yeah, I'm going through some things. Some imminent, some far away, some far-fetched. I don't know what will happen. Hmm. But still, that's the beauty of life. And I want to know what will happen and everything. After everything, I learned something. All right, that's enough heavy talk for today. Bye bye. See you guys later.